All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me on this fine Thursday evening, a little earlier than normal because I've got more things to do tonight that don't involve YouTube. Go figure. My name is Chuck Cassidy. Thank you for tuning in. If you're fresh here, well, boy, are you lucky because you're about to learn a bunch of stuff about converting a bus, some questions related to that, and actually just a whole lot about my life. So anyway, I'm just going to take a look and see who's here in the old comment section. We got 56 of you already. We got Bart, what's up? Wes, hey man. We got Gordo. We've got some legends here. This is great. Joshua Jacobs, what's up? Excuse me. I'm drinking the old club sodies. It is hotter than fire out here in Denver, Colorado today, and there is obviously no air conditioning in my shop. Am I going to San Francisco for the shows? I wish. That would have been sweet. I was trying to see the Dead and Company at Folsom Field. Dave Matthews made a surprise appearance, and I gotta say, like, I went through that time period in my life when I was really into Dave Matthews when I was younger, and then it was like not cool to be into Dave Matthews, and now I'm coming back around. I'm like, man, that dude shreds. That guy and his whole band, really amazing musicians. I'll tell you what. And the fact that he sat in with the Dead, anyways. Whew, first timer Neil Harris, what's up? Painted Buffalo, how are you? Did you hear about our friends Arbor Season? Everybody, just take a moment. Let's have a moment of silence for Arbor Season because they need a new engine. I'm not laughing. It's just like, God, it just happens to people, you know? So we'll just do a moment of silence for Arbor Season. Yeah, the worst happened. But it looks like it's not too bad, and Shane, as always, is just full of smiles. So what can we do? Yeah, I got an AC in my house. It's made all the difference in the world. So let's just get into it. I'm going to set that sort of down for a moment. Yeah, Arbor Season, they're going to need a new engine. So Jess, oh, that made me think of it, of you, because, you know, you're someone I know who's done the new engine game. And we're friends with Arbor Season, so. Anyway, today I'm doing something a little different. I'm going to try and recount from memory my bus life story. And, you know, I've had a video up on the old channel for a while that explains it, but I thought it was time for a refresher, and why not do it live, you know? So we're going to go until about 6:15 or so my time, a little shorter today. And then, yeah, hopefully at the end we'll throw down some Q&A because there will be some time. You can ask me questions about my life, about anything. But let's have a drink of carbonated happiness. And let's dive in to the beginning of the Chuck Cassidy story. So the year is 2007, and that's when I drive my first bus. And this was a 1976 MCI MC8 Crusader, which, if you don't know, is a coach bus. It was all stainless. It's the Greyhound bus we kind of all imagine. Powered by a Detroit diesel 2-stroke 8V71 non-turbo diesel, 40 feet long, all stainless. Just a gorgeous bus, really, that had been a Greyhound, and then it was a high school athletics bus. Anyways, I found out about this bus and came into its life because I was looking for a ride to the Bonnaroo Music Festival to go see, I don't know who was headlining that year. It was my second time down there, and it was me and 3 girls, which helped my odds of finding a ride tremendously. And I saw an ad on Craigslist for a party bus ride to Bonnaroo. I clicked on the ad, and, you know, there were pictures of the bus, and it had been being used as a bus to haul around ski movie production crew and the skiers and snowboarders. So this bus was already onto its 3rd incarnation. And I was like, wow, this sounds amazing. I called the guy. He said, yeah, you're in. Like, you got 3 girls. It's amazing. There's 16 of us. It's $100 a person. We're putting a keg on the bus. There's 16 people going. We've got bunks, I think, for 8, a bunch of couches. You know, we're leaving in 3 days. And I was like, amazing. This sounds like a really good time. And then he sends an email out to the group of us saying, hey, it's like a 24-hour drive or something to Manchester, Tennessee. Does anybody want to learn how to drive the bus to back me up on this? And I'm like, oh my God, yeah. So I hit him back. I say, yes. 2 days later, I'm meeting him at like 7 p.m. in a parking lot in a business center the day before we drive. My first time driving a bus, my first time driving anything with air brakes, my first time driving anything over probably 25 feet long. And I walk up and he's like, hey, what's up, man? And he hands me a beer. And I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be the most casual bus lesson ever. So I didn't drink the beer until afterwards, but we went around the parking lot. I got a feel for things and we left the next day at 3 p.m. And I loved that driving. I had the first shift. I loved it so much. I drove for like, it was something stupid, like 17 hours straight. I know, probably not the safest thing in the world. And everyone's behind me partying. I'm 19 or 20 years old at the time. And 20, well, how old was I? I don't know. I'm not going to do the math. I was 20 years old. I was exactly 20 years old. So not even old enough to drink. Driving this bus, driving through Kansas, these crazy thunderstorms. We lost our headlights. Everyone was drunk. I was the only one sober trying to fix it. It was just incredible. Had an amazing time. We get to the music festival, have the time of our lives. Everyone becomes friends. We come back. We say, hey, we should take this to like every show, you know? That would be really cool. And if you don't know, Colorado has a venue called Red Rocks Amphitheater. And it's this amazing amphitheater, but it's about 30 minutes outside of downtown Denver and about 45 minutes from Boulder. And at the time, this was before Uber and Lyft. This was actually even before Instagram, I think. There was no way to get there. And we got this idea that we would start providing $25 round trip rides from Boulder to Red Rocks. And we would put a keg on the bus and you could basically do whatever you wanted to do on the bus. It had couches, it had bunks. If you wanted to partake in anything, you were allowed to do that because our goal was to reduce intoxicated driving while at the same time raising money to pay for health insurance for artists. So we were actually a nonprofit, which is like beautiful, but nice. It illustrates how naive we were. And that's how we learned the ropes about what it takes to break out into the public utilities sector as a DOT certified public transportation, not public transportation, but like operating under the Public Utilities Commission, which was just insane. I learned so much about regulation and rules, but within like 3 or 4 years, we had become the largest party bus company in the state of Colorado. And we were taking as many as like, 25 to 30 buses a night on our big nights, which were the jam band nights because they had such a following and they loved us because we were totally tolerant of whatever they wanted to do on the buses as long as they were being safe and respectful. So we were just hitting it off. We were taking, like 12 to 13 or 1400 people a night to Red Rocks from Denver, Boulder, and Fort Collins. It was just insane. And I was the director of operations. I was once a driver, but I retired from that to be the director of operations. I was managing the fleet. We used bus drivers who, didn't have a job during the summer to do a lot of the driving, obviously. We had our own drivers, and then we had our own fleet of buses, and we leased other buses. And at the time, you could go to an auction and buy 10 school buses for $6,000, but you had to buy all of them. But all 10 were only $6,000. So that's $600 per bus. And these were like all mechanical DT 466, Allison MT 643, awesome dog nose, internationals from the late 80s and early 90s that are just like some of the best buses ever made. It was like, what a time to be alive and be doing buses. And during this time, I was in a band. I had my own bus. I converted to veggie oil. We were touring around the country. This all just progressed for like 9 years. And I learned so much about buses. I learned so much about driving buses, managing people of all walks of life, dealing with drunk people, the whole nightlife scene. Really insane. And in all of this, we still did, in the summertime, we would do cross-country trips to various music festivals for people from Colorado to get there. Kind of the same deal. We put a keg on board. It was like $100 to $200 a person. You could do whatever you want. Bring all your camping cargo. We'd put 16 to 20 people on a bus. It was insanity. And I was also a regular school bus driver to make money because the business wasn't making money. So I was driving kids. I also had a route hauling construction workers every day. I would drive kiddos on field trips and even was a tour bus driver for other bands who were in town, or not in town actually, a lot of international artists who needed a bus driver to drive them around the country. And I was like cheap kind of renegade bus driver running this really old 1982 MCI MC9 this time. So I leveled up and did just, I mean, so much bus driving and so much just bus living. Like almost every dollar I've made since 2007 has been because of the bus. And so yeah, so whew, imagine me, I'm running all this stuff, I'm getting burned out, and I need a place to live. I was living with my partner, our relationship ended, and this is in like 2014, and I scoffed at the rental prices in Denver. You know, who was I to know that I would look back on those days with nostalgia? But so I'm like, I need a place to live. I've lived in several school buses at this point in my life, including our first coach bus that we were using for the company. But, you know, I'd been out there on schoolie.net on the forums and, you know, scheming about a roof raise. There was this guy named Elliot Ness who had a bus named Millicent. And he was kind of one of the first people to really document a roof raise on a bus in the modern day. Modern day. I say since like the 80s when I have, like I've got a book that I shared on another live. This book of all these beautiful bus conversions and truck houses from the 70s and 80s. I mean, those are insane. But this was, you know, documented with a digital camera and posted on a message board. It was a build thread. And that was where I got the first idea about a roof raise, like really being a thing. And Wes, if you're still watching and if you hadn't totally tuned out because I'm just rambling, I think you also saw that same build thread. And, you know, maybe that also inspired you, this guy, Elliot. So anyway, so I got it in my mind, this housing thing is happening. And all the while, there has been a school bus that I drove by almost every day on my way to the bus yard to work my party bus job. And it was sitting in this used car lot, all forlorn, but it was the exact kind of bus that I like the most, which is an International S1800 series from the mid 80s with a DT466, all mechanical, and an Allison MT643. And it was only like 11 windows long, just a beaut, just a little simple, beautiful gem of a bus. And she'd been sitting there for like 2 years. And so my relationship ended. I need housing. I don't want to do the apartment thing. I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's time to build the bus of my dreams. Maybe it's just time. And so I walk in. They wanted $7,000 for the bus. And I'm like, hey, I know this has been for sale for a while. I know a lot about buses. You know, I'm willing to pay up to $2,000 for this out the door. So including all of your dealer fees. And the guy goes in, he says, let me talk to my guy. He comes out and he says, you've got a deal. And that was amazing. So I got the bus for $2,000. And it was just, that bus had good freaking vibes. It was, if you go on my Instagram, the Chuck Cassidy Instagram, it's this beautiful green bus with a roof raise and a front window on it. So I take this bus back and I build the bus of my dreams. I'm talking roof raise, I'm talking solar. This is 2014. I'm talking enough solar to run air conditioning. I'm doing the spray foam. I'm going all in because it's something that I've just dreamt about so much that if I don't do it, I'm gonna, how do I move forward? I'm always gonna be wondering. It'll be like the one that got away, you know? And in the course of all this, my mom sends me a link to a television show called Tiny House, Big Living. They were casting, they were seeking applicants. And my mom was like, hey, you're building like a tiny house thing. And I was like, yeah, I guess I am. You know, I'd not made the connection, I guess, that what I was doing was a part of that. And so I applied and I was kind of cheeky in my application, making jokes about how buses make more sense than tiny houses and they're cooler and all that. And sure enough, they hit me up and I ended up on that show. It was the first season of Tiny House, Big Living. I don't remember which episode exactly it was, but it was Charlie and Dakota's tiny bus house or something. You can still find it on the internet. And that episode did really well, actually. And as soon as people started seeing the finished product, they were somehow finding me through the internet and asking me to help them build their buses. And so in short order, I had people who wanted me to build them stuff. The TV show was asking me to come back as a consultant in another episode. And then they asked me to come back later as as just a builder for a whole nother client, which I did. So I'm in 3 episodes of that show. And I saw an opportunity and I said, you know what? I'm burned out on this party bus business. Maybe I just start doing this. And so I started doing it and Ben was there. He was the person who helped me with the woodworking on my first bus. And he and I formed this company and started doing buses for other people. And my episodes did so well that I actually did a pilot of my own show, which also did well, but Discovery Channel bought HGTV and canned all the in-house development. So my show got thrown out, but no hard feelings because I appeared in other build shows and contests and things like that. And from that point forward, we really got serious about the bus conversions. And it was me and Ben and our friend Ty was our first employee, I guess. And we just got serious about converting buses. And that was back in 2015. And in 2015, we opened, we started as a company called Art Builders Guild, also doing furniture for retail. Like we built out the interiors of coffee shops, restaurants, furniture pieces for homes and offices. So we did a lot of furniture building, but we were doing the bus conversion thing. And before long, it became clear that the bus conversion thing was the only thing to do because we were unique at it. We were good at it. And I was realizing that I knew a lot about buses and a lot more than most people. And I had a lot of value to give. Oh, I should add, I didn't know that van life was a thing until I was building that bus that ended up on the TV show. And my then partner at the time, Dakota, she said, "Hey, do you know about this thing called #vanlife?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "It's all over Instagram." And I was like, "Well, I don't have Instagram." And she actually pushed me into starting my Instagram page. So Dakota, I'm sure you're not watching, you're raising your child, but hey, thank you for the push because I started the Instagram account and sure enough, people were fascinated and I had followers. And, I realized that this was like a thing that people were doing and that was pretty cool. And I've never been great at really pushing the social media stuff, but I've been just around, I guess, long enough that it's slowly built up over time. And so here I am now, standing in front of you after, almost 9 years of running that business, realizing that, part of what I was so inspired to do when I built that green bus, which was called the Queen of Peace, after the Catholic school who had owned the bus and then sold it to the used car dealership. I kept the name. I like when buses name themselves. And that's like a really intense, epic name, right? Queen of Peace. Holy crap. So So after we, started building things and after the Queen of Peace build, I had planned on traveling and stuff. I'd planned on like living the bus life, which wasn't even a thing yet, and just hitting the road. And sure enough, I accidentally started a business. And so starting a business is a lot like having kids. You've got overhead, you've got employees, you've got clients, you have obligations. And that was what I did. I got locked into a groove. And for the last, 9 years or 8 years, that's what I've been doing. And I've had very little time off. This year has been transformative because I've had so much time away from the job. And it's really inspired me to pursue this YouTube thing more, sharing all of the copious amounts of very niche information that I have with all of you as a way to generate value for myself and for others that I can use to, support myself on, so I can close this freaking boat anchor of a shop down and get out there back on the road in a bus as I always imagined and still be making enough money to stay alive, which I never really had figured out, to be honest. I was a bit naive in my thinking in 2014. I was like, I'll just figure it out later. But no, and so thanks to you, thanks to all of the people watching this channel, the people who support me either on the Schoolie Support Patreon or buy solar equipment from you, or from me, because of all of those things, I'm finally getting to a point where I can shut this all down, which is what we're doing, and I can hit the road, which is my plan in November of this year. And it means the world to me that I finally get to live out sort of this long dream I've had as somebody who, God, I just have this bizarre accumulation of bus experience in my life. I don't know if you've ever read the book by Malcolm Gladwell called Outliers. He talks about this phenomenon where to become an expert at something, to become like truly transcendently great, you need to accrue 10,000 hours of experience. And jokingly, I'm like, in the bus life situation, I'm like over 20,000 hours deep because I've been doing bus related things full time for 16 or 17 years or something in there, the math, whatever. That's a lot of hours, a whole lot of hours, like it's my job. And so I'm just this bucket of bus information, but I'm still learning stuff all the time. I learned about some things at the bus fair from people, and that's really cool. Like, I don't know everything, but I know a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've built a lot of really great things, and I've built other things that I've had to rebuild before. And so this is where I'm at. And as I bring this, rambling, meandering journey of my bus life to an end, as far as the story goes, the shop is closing. I'm not doing builds for the foreseeable future until I have a shop again. And I'm going to be out here traveling in my bus, helping people, just relaxing, living a good life. For the foreseeable future, also going to be spending about a week a month at my friend Wes's shop down in Wichita, Dark Wolf Artisans, as their sort of in-house systems expert, doing solar and helping people design that stuff and push through projects at the shop while making informative videos along the way, while also, trying to keep an interesting YouTube channel going. And I'm really excited about that. Buses are certainly a huge part of my life, but I think if you're into buses and if you're into this lifestyle, there's other aspects of my repertoire of knowledge that I someday want to share with you. I renovate old houses, I'm into old cars, I'm mechanical, electrical, not so great at computing, but I want to share it all with you. So that is the Chuck Cassidy story. Thank you for indulging me on that ramble, but I thought it would be good to just let everyone know who the heck I am and why I have this, interesting position where I find myself as somebody who is a really deep resource on bus information. And, not that I've done everything in a bus, but holy smokes, I sure have done a lot, And I'm excited to see where this journey continues to take me. I don't think I can quit the bus. As hard as I have tried, and as much as I might wish, I don't think I can. Oh yeah, and everybody, I did get a degree in philosophy from the University of Colorado, and that was also hugely formative in who I am. I've never actually had a career path. I always was, in the background of all of this, I was trying to make it as a musician. So, things were always sort of a means to an end. And it wasn't until I started doing the build outs that I really, really felt the pull and had to let the idea of a career as a musician kind of go away, which I think was bittersweet, but honestly, it was nice to let go of. It's, a career in music is so impossibly difficult. You could be the best in the world and you still need things outside of your control to go in your favor, in my opinion, for it to work out. So who knows, maybe one day you'll hear me play a guitar or something, but so here we go. Where are we at? It's 5:59. Cool. So I managed to ramble for almost 30 minutes. And it looks like 123 of you are still here. Thank you. You know what? I'm going to do it. Some people hate that sound, by the way, the canned applause, but I think it's funny. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the Q&A, and you can ask me whatever questions you like. I'll probably throw down for about 15 minutes or so, and then I got to pack up and get cleaned up because I'm going to a meeting with a friend who's starting a van conversion company. I'm doing a lot of consulting these days, helping people design really, really amazing systems for their rigs. And most of that is in the solar world, but it applies to the heating and the cooling. It's a holistic thing. And buses are cool. It's a cool place to cut your teeth because they're such a blank canvas and you can do a lot with them. But holy smokes. And I've got some amazing partnerships coming up in the near future that I'm really excited about to offer people who are watching this, or anyone who watches my channel, the opportunity to get custom designed solar kits in a much more streamlined fashion than I've been able to offer them. We've got some amazing custom designed hardware for making those kits even easier to install. It eliminates the need for certain cables and bus bars to make them more efficient. We're going to have standardized layouts. I want my main objectives in life, my guiding principles right now, are to get free and help others do the same. I want to be liberated from the things that hold me down mentally, economically, whatever, politically, and do what I can to help you or the people around me also get free and feel free. And I think that, the nomad lifestyle is certainly a path to that. And if you hit that lifestyle and follow that path, you learn a lot of skills that translate into other paths that are also equally freeing. I'm talking about alternative building practices, earthships, yurts, you know, you name it. So that's what's coming down the pike. Frankly, I've not had my fill of buses, but I think I need to move on to, you know, more diverse place. Okay, here we go. I'm diving in, and we've got about 15 minutes. I'm sweating. Oh, and I want to give a shout out. Bus Life Adventure, my friend Brock runs that site, and that is who put on the bus fare. And I gush about it, and everybody who was there, I know, just had the best time. And if you follow any of us on social media, you'll see, you know, through the things that we've shared, that was like a really magical experience. And so just a shout out to Brock. Thank you for putting that on. I know it's a lot of work, and they do make a contribution to my channel. It's a modest one, but it's more symbolic than anything because Brock's my friend and he refuses to let me do things for free because he's that kind of guy. And so I just, you know, pure heart, good spirit, and the event is a reflection of that. So thank you, Brock. And that is why I wear the hat, because he's my kind of guy. Anyways, whew, I'm so blessed. What an amazing life I have. Okay, so I'm just going to pick up where I'm at now. If you asked questions previously to this, I'm super sorry, but I can't just go back. It's not fair. So we're starting here. The Painted Buffalo. Oh my God, Jess! Look, I've got a stack for you, and it's they're real. They're real. If I had infinite time, I would be like, just throw your address down and we'll send you some of these out. I need someone to manage these. Maybe, Jess, I could just send you all of them and you can decide where they go. Maybe they just live on your duck's house or something. But oh, Murillo, you brought the deuce home. That's awesome. This is so cool. Okay, so I'm starting with Prepton, Kansas. So we know why you wear the hat, but why do you keep the bill flat? I keep the bill flat because curvy. I'm not, you know, like I used to be a curved bill guy, and now I'm a flat bill guy. It's a personality. It's a statement. There, is that better? Oh, I've got to check in for my flight to Wichita tomorrow. I'm gonna do it because it's with Southwest, and as you all know, like you can't mess around with that, or you're gonna end up with a freaking middle seat, and nobody wants a freaking middle seat. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Oh my God, they're saying I can't check in yet because it's at 6:05. Sorry, I'm gonna be that guy. I know I've got 100 people watching me, but I'll be damned if I get a freaking middle seat. Here we go. Is it feasible to install a generator to run while driving? Yeah, absolutely. Buses do that all the time, but if you have a high enough rated alternator, you can get up to 900 watts of alternator charging into your house system really easily. So I don't know if I would do that. Do you always locate the gray tank outside, even on a big bus with a raised rear floor? Yeah, I do, because it's still very hard to get like your shower drain into that gray tank, even if it's got a raised floor, because usually the shower pan is still below it. So there you go. What's the proper way to add a long skylight in the middle of an international short bus? Hobby welder. Tall guy looking to add a little standing room in the kitchen. I'm wondering, are you talking about like a clear story thing, you know, where you have like the raised part in the middle like a trolley? Otherwise, you could just cut out the skin and put some curved plexiglass over that, which would be just fine. Oh, here we go. I'm checking into my flight. I'm so sorry. This is like, some people would say it's cringe, but I'm just, let's see what position I got. Let's see what position, who else flies Southwest? I love Southwest. B2. Isn't that crazy? Somehow all the A were taken. Okay, back to life. It's hilarious. Do you have a passion for solar going into the tiny home world, or was it projects you did along the way that inspired you to specialize? You know what? I got stoked on solar because in 2012, I had a bus where I put a 100 watt panel on it, going through a cheap PWM charge controller just into my starting battery. And we ran an inverter off of that single starting. I mean, this is like everything wrong, right? And it was just amazing. And that was in a veggie powered tour bus that we went all over the country in, just on like one battery. It was so wrong, but you know, like it worked. Like I've done things the wrong way, and I know what it takes to make the wrong way work. And I think I will do videos of how to build buses to different budget points, make, you know, what are the compromises that are like the least awful to make along the way. I definitely want to do videos about that. But that's what I got. That's when I first got into it. And then later on, when I said I wanted to do solar powered air conditioning on the roof of my bus in 2013, 2014, planning that out, people said it couldn't be done. And I was like, I did the math. I saw the panels, you know, like I think I can do it. And lo and behold, I did it. And I don't know if I was the first, but I was among the first, and that felt like magic to me, you know. It was really cool. How to take the leap to get started? You're in your early 50s. It takes money. It does take money. And if you're broke, it's hard because a bus, like a boat, is a money pit. Not as big of a pit or as deep of a pit as a boat, but it's tough. The materials to do a build, like fancy and all that, like the way I do it on a bus my size, which is a medium-sized bus, it's like 30 grand in materials, even if you do all the work yourself. The green bus that I lived in prior to this one, I was about $28,000 into it in materials. So that's where you have to start wondering, you know, how much money do I want to spend? What are the compromises I can make? You'll still be happy and comfortable and safe and healthy. And that's, you know, that's like a personal decision. But again, if you want to schedule a consultation with me, I'd be happy to help you. But that's a deep question for sure. Would you consider writing a how-to bus building? Oh, a book, how to build a bus A to Z. Yeah, I'm very much considering that. Chuck for mayor. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm running for mayor of Bus Life. Please cast your votes for me this November. Did you find new headlights you're happy with? If so, what kind? No, I haven't yet. The ones that are on that bus, my bus now, are cheap, and they have a plastic lens that I know is not going to hold up, but they actually have pretty good beam separation, so they're really bright, and that brightness stops, and you can control that level so you're not blinding oncoming traffic. And beam separation for me is the number one, well, it's tied for the number one reason why those cheap LED headlights suck. Poor beam separation between the bright part and the dark part is one, and the other is the fact that they're almost always plastic, and that plastic doesn't, excuse my French, fucking hold up. We used to have glass headlights that would last forever and never cloud or fog up. And then they switched to plastic, as everything is transitioned to plastic, which is okay. But in this instance, I really hate it. So I don't like it very much. Riff, whatever. Can you verify which Roton hinge you're using? Oh my God. I do not know the model number of that hinge. I'm really sorry. I should probably update the video description, but now is not the time for me to answer that question. Bart, you know, I thought, okay, so I packed these stickers, and then at the bus, I bought them for the bus fare. I packed them. I got to the bus fare, tried to find them, and thought maybe I didn't pack them because I couldn't find them. Well, I also at the same time bought a new like fancy travel duffel backpack thing, and these were in one of the fancy hidden pockets, and I just didn't find them. It's awful. Joanne, yeah, I can help you lay out your unusual bus needs. Just schedule a consultation and we can pick through it one by one. Have you ever done a garage, more specifically woodworker or a guitar? Sorry, I don't know what that question is. Have I ever converted a shuttle bus? No, not personally, because I really don't like, I would just say no. I don't like engaging with the fiberglass like that. I noticed you took out all the original heaters on your bus. Are you going to put one back? Actually, no, I didn't take them all out. I took out the rear one, but the front heater is still in place precisely for the defrost. I think defrost is important. I live in a cold climate where we need defrost on our windshield, so I leave it. And I recommend everybody leave the defrost, especially because, you know, one day you're going to sell your bus and you don't want to have somebody say, oh, I don't want to have to add a defrost to this bus because I live in a cold climate, you know. Kingpin replacement, swing arm axle is worn. Think it's safe to weld in where it's worn, then bore out to spec. Oh, you should really talk to a machine shop about that. I just wouldn't know. Yeah, so you've got a swing arm. Are you an air ride front bus? Or front axle? I'm confused. Like if the swing arm is warm, What's the kingpin replacement have to do with that? Have you ever done a garage, more specifically woodworker or guitar fabricator? No, I sure haven't. The only thing I've really ever built for other people has been conversions and buses, the occasional van, the occasional Airstream thing. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Not sure where to start other than size. How should I begin? Donald Blair, you should watch my videos about it. I'm making videos as often as I can about all of these answers. What is the towing capacity of my or similar bus? Well, I don't know. The bus that I have here, it's got a GVWR, gross vehicle weight rating, of 25, almost 26,000 pounds. Not quite though. And the trailer hitch I put on it is only rated to 10,000 pounds. And I know that it can tow that because I've towed a load that was maybe even pushing that 10,000 pounds pretty hard all the way out to Wichita. I know I at least had, I'm pretty sure I had like probably 10,500 pounds on there. And it did it fine because my bus only weighs 13,000 pounds. It probably weighs 14,000 pounds now, but if it's rated to almost 26, it only weighs 14. It's pretty easy to add 10,000 pounds behind it. So, Wes, yeah, I got that window seat, buddy. I'll be hanging out with you well, not quite this time tomorrow, but almost. Love it out there. It's gonna be warm though. Do I have any good references for building out gray and black tanks, including plumbing for dumping? Not yet, but I do have a video out there on how to mount those tanks. Polycarbonate bends better. Polycarbonate does bend better. I think we were talking about the skylights and stuff. Commercial airlines scare me. You know, I love flying. Flying is actually one of my favorite things to do as a human. I can't stand the people so much, but I love the experience. Here's the deal. I've got 2 minutes, but here we go. So I'm just going to start. If you've got a question, you can always schedule a consultation with me and get an hour of my time. You can do that. It's $100, and I know it's a lot of money, but I would say that everyone I've talked to would probably tell you that my advice saved them well over $100, or at least many hours of frustration in working. And if you have a solar question, you can book specifically a solar consultation. All those links are in the description. So if you're bummed that you didn't get time with me today, I get it. I just can't get to everybody, especially because I got to sign off here really soon. But there is a way that you can buy my time. You can also hit me up on Patreon. We've got the schoolie support, all that stuff. I'm here to help you. But I do, I'm at a place where I have to charge for my time. And when I'm here, it pains me that I can't answer everybody's questions. I'm looking for some good ones here. I need a virtual assistant. That's true. Yeah, so some of these questions are just so hard to answer. A superior ceiling product? Yeah, it is the cedar that I used at Gutted. I mean, it's not the best, but I do like it, and that's what I'm putting in my bus probably. Never seen you with an adopted dog. I guess you haven't because I don't have any dogs. I love dogs though. Dave, I hope that tearing down that framing wasn't too big of a disappointment, but I think you're going to be happy that you did. Power stations is basic electrical systems for a conversion rather than component systems. I've got a whole video about that surrounding the Anchor Powerhouse. If your system is something that is sized for more like a van or a really small bus, it can totally work. But I find that in general, most people need more storage than something like the Anchor can offer. And some power systems do offer expandable battery packs and also the ability to have more solar input. I think for full-time use, especially if you want to have AC, it's nice to hit above 1,000 watts on the solar input side. And it's nice to have, in my view, 10 kilowatt hours of storage if you really want to get into it, Yeah, we're talking about no such thing as a good deal on a rusty bus. Here we go. Okay, so it's time for me to sign off. There's 152 of you watching this, and I can't express my gratitude enough. I'm entering into a new chapter of my life that is literally completely made possible by all of you watching this, all of the people who watch my videos, the people who subscribe to the Patreon and you know are in the Schoolie support membership, the people who buy solar from me, the people who hire me for consultations, like you're enabling me to keep making this content and not have to run a business anymore and just run me so I can hit the road. And I have to say, I wouldn't have made this leap if it wasn't for my friend Alyssa. You know her as Regretless, and she was the one that said, hey, you really need to put yourself out there. So Alyssa, if you're watching, thank you so much for giving me the kick in the butt to, you know, start this. It takes a lot of work to start the YouTube thing, and I'm glad I did it. And I'm glad that you are all here watching this, watching me ramble. It's time for me to go. My name is Chuck Cassidy. Thank you for watching. It means the world to me. Make sure you tune in. We've got another video coming out this Sunday. You're not going to want to miss it. It's about the build order and how, you know, the order that we build things. And I've got an announcement about a new little segment that I'm launching that I think is really cool. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves. Good luck on your projects, and we'll see you soon.